Hello everybody and welcome to the summit, and thank you very much for coming. My name is Timothy Perchey and I'm the VP of Digital Marketing at Clark. I'm from Australia, so sorry about my accent and sorry about my voice. I lost it a few days ago, but it's better than it was a few days ago when I was speaking like a 13-year-old boy. But I wanted to give you a bit of where I've come from. I've previously worked for DCMN, a TV advertising agency here in Berlin, and also for Rocket Internet on their venture at Glossybox, but now I'm part of the Clark journey, and I wanted to explain a bit more of how we've grown a lot in the last 2 or 3 years and how we plan on continuing our growth going forward, and the 5 steps that we feel got us to that point. And today, like I said, I just quickly want to give you an overview of what I'll speak about. So I want to introduce who Clark is and what we do and where we come from. I want to tell you what I won't be speaking about, but then I want to tell you what I will be speaking about, which is that journey and that story that has got us here, and those 5 points, which was our growth year from zero to hero in 2018, which was building a case before testing to save time and money, how we spend our money and how we spend it efficiently, the more the merrier in regards to channels and how we can grow quickly, and then finally our step for the future, which is building our brand. What I won't be speaking about today. So these summits are really great, and these conferences are really great for taking key takeaways from specific channels. But unfortunately today, I won't be diving into any of these specific channels. So no, I won't be telling you that the best creatives get the best results, because someone else will do that. And I won't be telling you that you need to A/B test everything, which is something that we of course do at Clark. I also won't be saying that you need to change and test one thing at a time so you know where those learnings are coming from. And test, fail, repeat, no doubt, someone will also say it. It's something that we live by at Clark. And also what I won't be doing is teaching you any PowerPoint skills, because mine are horrible. It is my first and last, and not to annoy anyone, but can anyone in the room raise their hand if they have heard of Clark? Great, that's a really good start, and hopefully in 2020 we have some more hands. So Clark is a Frankfurt-based insurtech startup founded in 2015. We are an insurance broker. That means that we can sell insurances direct to the customer. We currently service about 200,000 customers in Germany, and we've just recently launched in Austria and hopefully 1 or 2 more markets in 2020. 150 employees sit in Frankfurt, except one thing to note is our marketing team is based in Berlin. We made this decision 18 months ago as we thought it would be the way to scale more easily and have access to that talent pool that we know is based here in Berlin. So everyone else is in Frankfurt, the marketing team is based in Berlin. Clark does not sell its own products. We work with the 160 insurance providers across Germany, and that'll come more into play about our product later. A little bit more about our product and exactly how we do it. So Clark centralizes, digitalizes, and optimizes insurances. So that means we give an overview, a health check of everyone's insurance policies. We let you have a dashboard. We can have an overview of all your insurances. We give you an overview on an insurance by insurance model if we think they're healthy or not healthy. And also you give one touch and a more detailed overview of your insurances. But to give that in a real world example, let's say someone named John downloads our application and they tell us about their car insurance with Allianz. And this is where we'll work out our 2 main revenue streams, which is a management fee and a sales fee. So John tells us he has a car insurance at Allianz for 500 euros. We have the technology. We go first to Allianz and we say, Allianz, John has now told us that we're his broker for his insurance. And instead of Allianz having to talk to 50 million Johns across Germany, they now pay us, Allianz pay us to manage that for John. So they simplify their relationship with their users. So that's first how for every insurance we have a management fee. It's a small yearly fee of how we try and how we monetize that insurance. Secondly, with that car insurance, if we know John's paying 500 euros a year and gets X insurance, then we try and optimize his insurance. So not only have we centralized it and digitalized it, we try and find him either a cheaper solution or a better insured solution. So then we suggest him something from Swiss Life or from another insurance provider. So we're continually optimizing the insurance life of our users, and that is our USP. we have the best in-industry user experience, we have independent expert advice, and we have a technology. We don't have 1 million people sitting in Frankfurt going through 1 million insurance contracts. We've built the technology, a robo-advisor, to make sure that we can continually optimize the insurance life of our users. The 5 points and what I wanted to get to of how we grew. So 2018 was our big year of growth and how we did that. Here's an example of our growth in the last few years. And the middle bar is 2018, from where we really went from zero to hero and how we did that. And to be honest, it was a one-man band. We were proving our product on a performance level. His name is Simon. Some of you in this room know about Simon, who sits in Frankfurt. Simon was our marketing generalist, who was the original marketer at Clark. And basically what we did in 2018 is split the year into 4 quarters and focus on the 4 biggest potential channels that we thought. We were building our case, and we were building that by those 4 big channels of social, Google, content, and partnerships. So Simon would spend 3 months and throw all his money and all his energy and all his time into one channel, let's say content marketing, work out if it has a case, work out if we think we can invest in there. And basically what we were doing is saying, will next year in 2019 an expert be able to approve that cost per acquisition on those 4 channels? So we built the case for those 4 channels to then make sure that we invest in 2019. Instead of investing too early in building the marketing team, we wanted to make sure we knew where we would build that marketing team. That's how we grew in 2018. So building a case is something I've already mentioned, but something as marketers, we have opportunities for new channels and new networks on a weekly, daily basis. So how we do it, and it takes time and money to do that, and we can't hit all our opportunities. So something that we do very well at Clark is build a case to attack those new opportunities. As marketers, we think in funnels, so we should be reporting in funnels. So on the right, on the slide, is a way that we report on a channel, network, campaign, audience, and creative level at Clark. It starts with an impression and it finishes with a conversion and has all the KPI in a funnel in between and how we go. So one thing I want to do is build a case in real time from a network provider. So one thing at Clark that we have that does very well is paid content. We get to educate our user. So we often have publishers reaching out to negotiate contracts with us. And this is how we quickly build a case within a matter of minutes to know if we want to use that publisher. One thing we know and we're given by publishers are impressions, price, and placements. And so we're going to compare a potential publisher to a content network like Outbrain or Taboola. What are the positives of using that? Of course, a better placement, higher than Outbrain, higher than Taboola, but also potentially a more targeted audience. But the negative, of course, that comes at a price. These publishers charge crazy CPM prices, of course. So here, let's use March as a sort of Outbrain or Taboola model. We can see, and the goal of this operation is to get a CPA of 100, let's say. So we know in March with Outbrain or Taboola, we had a funnel and we had the right price to get the conversions in at 88 euros, for example. What we know from the network is the price is 45,000. We're going to get 20 million impressions, which is just over 2 euros. We're already at a CPM 3 times higher than what we wanted it to be. But from past experiences, from past publishers, we know that we'll have better results down that funnel. For example, we know we have a 50% improvement on click-through rate because that placement is higher, the audience is targeted, and then we know due to that we're going to have more trust during the bottom of the funnel. So we use that 20% in this case of those improvements. So then when we put those 2 things together, we work out, and that price of 45,000 euros, we're going to get a CPA of 113 euros. So then we can quickly go back to the publisher and say, we know now that we want it at this price, take it or leave it, and that's quickly and how we can build a relationship instead of just going and spending the time and money and testing in that native environment straight away. The third thing that we did to scale in 2019, it's pretty obvious, is we spent a lot more money, and that's something that you have to do to scale, but it's about how we spent that money. At Clark, we have very strict return on investment rules. We know that we want to see a return on our investment within 24 months. Why do we make that so short? Because the shorter and the smaller that number, the less risk our investment have. If we can see a return after 2 years, that's a very small risk period. So what we have to do then is understand the lifetime value of our users. And we do that on a channel by channel level. So for example, let's say that one channel, let's use content marketing, where we can really educate the user. Through our cohort analysis, we can estimate for our customer lifetime value of 10 years, that user will be worth €1,000. So a fifth of that, 10 years, the 24 months, is €200. So on that channel, we know we can scale as much as possible and pay up to €200 per user. And once we hit that, we need to find another channel. For example, on something like display advertising, we've worked out through cohort analysis that that user is worth €500 over a 10-year period. A fifth of that is €100. So we scale up until that point of 100. It's really about, you need to spend the money, but of course, spend it correctly. And we do that by not only focusing on the CPA, but the lifetime value of that customer through messaging and the journey. The fourth one, now we know a bit more of how much we can pay for a user, how to build a case. It was finding that user. So one thing that we also know through our analysis at Clark, we understand our target group very, very well, which is a young professional, which we know as internally as a male, 25 to 45, with an above average income. So we know that our target group exists on Google and Facebook, but we need to spread because we also know that our target group exists everywhere. And in 2019, what we did very well is go from channel by channel on a quarterly basis to now spreading our channel mix really far and really wide. And one thing and these are our current main performing channels on a performance level. And one thing that's interesting about our channel mix, and I think something that makes us easier to scale, is not one channel has more than 20% of total customer intake. So we don't have this champion channel that we're relying on constantly because we know that strategies will run out eventually. So now we know how to find a user, we know how much we can pay for a user, we know how to build a case. Our step now is going, what's next? What's the future for Clark? And that orange bar is what we're hoping to achieve in 2020. So our last point is point 5, but how are we going to do that? And that's spreading our message and increasing to speak to our target audience. And how are we going to do that? And that's by, like I said, spreading our message. So we went to an agency to help us with our messaging, and they told us exactly what we already knew. And did a consolidation of what we're actually telling our user, which was where the insurance on the go, it's all in one app, it's digital, it's optimizable, it's centralized. But unfortunately what happened there is that that's not what we were saying, that's what our competition was saying. So we were having the exact same message as our competition. So the way that we know that we have to do that in 2020 to continue to scale in such a competitive environment. Some of you may have heard of our competition. WeFox, B2B, Lemonade came into the German market recently with a big bang, and Check24. We have no direct competition because we have no direct competitor. WeFox do have a different business model. Lemonade is selling a smaller selection of insurances, and Check24 are really working on a short-time lifetime value of a customer and want simply the biggest commission and don't care about that longevity of the customer. So how do we do that, and how do we stand out in 2020? That's by building a brand. This is the last one. Here, the goal of building a brand, which I think some people sometimes don't understand, is we now need to position ourselves as the premier digital insurance broker in Europe going forward. One thing that we know is the goal also of brand is that to differentiate from our competition. We're using the exact same message. The competition don't know the differences between us and our competition, and that's what we really have to focus on in 2020 to change. Also, for 2018, 2019, it was a very bottom of funnel approach. We're now growing up and we now need to fill that funnel from the top, and that brand will do that. And surprisingly, there's not a huge amount of users searching for a digital insurance broker in Germany. So of course, in 2018 and 19, we've been pushing our advertising, and no doubt our brand will increase our pull and then blend down our user acquisition going forward. And then the last point is how we're going to do this before I finish. And this is obvious. So we know our audience. We know how to build a business case. And it's those exact same channels that we have in 2019 that we're going to capitalize and use in 2020 to build our brand. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We know exactly where our target group is. We know exactly where our audience is. And so we know that those channels are going to be our main driver for 2020. TV, of course, will be the biggest one and probably the most obvious one for building our brand. That's everything that I have to say. I'm not sure if the platform allows for it, but if there's any questions, please come and find me later, and I'm happy to let you know about anything you want to know.